Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. You know what, man? There's just a bit too much controversy going on in boxing right now for me. You know what I'm saying? I know some people are going to say, well, Hood Champion, take it easy, controversy sells. To that, I say in the most respectful way, hold your horses. Let's stop taking it to the stupid. You got a lot more going on in controversy, man, and that's what we need to be focused on. But again, a little bit of controversy, cool, but it's just too much. You got championship fights. You got major business battles taking place. You got fans out here raising concerns about the image of American boxing following the recent issues involving fighters traveling to Australia. Claressa Shields nonsense. You got Errol Spence and Tszyu about to scrap. Then Tyson Fury's latest performance and a growing spotlight on women's boxing. But the bottom line is, there's a lot of different things that are going on, some confirmed events, reported statements, fan opinions. So let's just jump into it. Look, man, American boxing is losing its reputation. American boxing looking bad, man. I listen to the fans and then I have my own opinion. But I hear people expressing concern that recent incidents involving American fighters have created a negative perception internationally. Tony Bellew was talking about it. American boxing is dead. People don't take him serious. And when he said that, and Eddie Hearn was kind of like, he tell he wasn't disagreeing with him, but he was watching what he says because Eddie Hearn's a promoter and he's still actively involved with boxing, so he has to watch what he says. But I understand where they're coming from. I mean, you just take a look at what happened here with Jamal Charlo. Man couldn't get into Australia, you know. Sounded like he had some visa issues. Some of those legal woes came back to haunt him. Stephen Fulton was actually, able to get to Australia, but then he missed weight by over 6 pounds, like 6.5 pounds. That's after the weight was moved up from 130 to 133. The man weighed in at 139.5. So it just, when you have incidents like this, it's going to prompt fans. And then when the commentators get a hold of it, they're going to question American boxing. And it's becoming less reliable in the eyes of international promoters, international fighters, and the overall fan base. And I got to say, too, the whole shit's like a clown show, man. And it's unfortunate because they have some fighters out there that's trying to do the business. But every time you look at these young fighters on the internet, even some of the older ones, I've been saying this for years. I don't see why these promoters let these guys get up there in press conferences and use the N-word and cuss and be unprofessional, I understand that the whole thing about it brings attention to the sport, it gets people talking, but no, man, that shit is unprofessional as hell. It's trash. You know what I mean? It's trash. You see from fighters from other countries, they make noise and they may cuss, but this whole thing about the way the American fighters conduct themselves, I'm talking about Shakir Stevenson, Keyshawn, David, Devin's dad. I can go on and on, man. All of them. This N-word shit and cussing, don't even get me talking about Claressa Shields and her stinking mouth. Alicia Baumgartner had, she went out there and made some noise and her mouth was disgusting, but she seemed to be trying to clean up her act. But the bottom line is, this is what's out there. These fighters who are the biggest names in American boxing, male and female, look at how they conduct themselves. Look at how they act. Look at the sound bites they leave the boxing fans. And people pay attention to that shit. Now, don't get me wrong, boxers from other countries, a lot of them will cuss and all that, but the whole N-word, this and that, and get off, I'll just put it this way, man. The United States continues to produce many highly professional fighters, and I can understand if these were isolated incidents, because you definitely don't want to use isolated incidents to define an entire country's boxing culture. But the problem is majority of the fighters talk this way. Don't get me going on Edgar Berlanga and Richardson Hitchens. Shakir too, all of them. All that talent. But they don't know a goddamn thing about being professional. And I blame the promoters. You got to chirp them up. They're an extension of your brand. penalize them. They up there carrying on like they penalize their ass. You know what I'm saying? They out here missing weight, penalize them. They pop dirty for some kind of banned substance, penalize them. Ryan Garcia, they should have destroyed that dude. Canelo should have been destroyed. Eddie Reynoso's fighters in his camp, they all should have been destroyed. Destroy them. You know what I'm saying? Especially that shit that Eddie Reynoso had going on over there with his fighters. I don't care what he says. Get all them fighters in your camp, man. I'm just a trainer. I'm man. Shut up. Penalize their ass. But right now, when it comes to boxing culture, especially on this side of the pond, shit looking crazy. Now, to something, that's probably worth more talking about. Errol Spence Jr. and Tszyu, man. Both of these guys are speaking very confidently ahead of their fight. Some fans are split, and I can understand because even I'm kind of on the fence. I like Tszyu, I like Errol Spence. I'm kind of rooting for Errol Spence because of just everything this man has gone through. I want to see him win, but then I'm kind of rooting for Tszyu because I know how hard I have an understanding how hard it can be when you have that last name Zhu and people have these high expectations and you went and you lost to two very difficult opponents, man. I mean, shit. He didn't lose the slouches. He lost to Fundora and Murtazaliev. But at the same time, I gotta look at the experience level in the championship fights. You know what I mean? Errol Spence experience gives him the edge, but his inactivity, I think, gives Tszyu a great opportunity to upset the apple cart. But even I'll say this: there are others that view it as an even matchup, but there's some say this shit ain't even at all. Hood, how you gonna expect an inactive fighter, no matter how talented they were when they were active, to come in here and beat an active fighter who's more of a B-level fighter? You know what I'm saying? And an active A-level fighter makes them a C-level fighter. And going up against a B-level fighter, that makes them an A-level fighter. So Errol Spence loses. Now, initially, you know what I hit him with? I said, hey, yo, hold your horses. Let's not take it to the stupid. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, maybe you got a point if we're talking about a fighter other than Errol Spence Jr. But the bottom line is many expect an action fight because the style's involved. Neither one of these guys is going to take a step backwards. They're both bringing the mash-up, crash-up. Tszyu is trying to put the Aussie, oi, all up in Errol Spence's mouth. All up in his mouth. And Errol Spence is trying to hit Tszyu with that goddamn Dallas, Texas left hand and had that man go down and hit that canvas faster than a country boy could either play that Texas barbecue. But what I will say, we don't know what will happen. Is it going to end by knockout, go the distance? But if you told me to bet my last dollar on what's going to happen, I say knockout. And this thing about a rematch clause in Dallas, I don't know what the hell's going on with that. Makes you wonder, man, somebody lacking some confidence? But nonetheless, I wonder, why you got a rematch clause? But anyway, I haven't seen the contract, but the terms would depend on the official contract and what they agreed to. But I just wonder if there's a rematch clause signed, no matter what, win, lose, or draw, they're gonna fight a second time. So we gotta wait and find out more about that. Now, Tyson Fury defeats Marius Walk. He secured the victory, but my reaction is kind of mixed. You know what I'm saying? Fury still has a ring IQ. He can control a fight against a guy like Walk. But, that version of Fury that existed early in his career, that guy's gone. All right? So for you Tyson Fury fans, I'm sorry to break it to you. Tyson Fury is not the same fighter. And about him and Anthony Joshua and this fight that's going to happen as long as AJ wins tonight, I'm going to tell you right now, Anthony Joshua is going to be favored. He's going to be favored widely. I think he knocks Tyson Fury out. Tyson Fury's into just, I don't know, he might as well join the circus and start juggling goddamn tangerines. He just isn't the same. That people talk about the fight between Fury and Wilder and what Fury took out of Wilder. Wilder took a pound of flesh out of Fury too, you know what I'm saying? And Fury's admitted it, and it shows in the ring in his in-ring performances. So I got AJ knocking Fury out within 2 rounds. Now, talking about a knockout, the women's boxing. Women are knocking it out the park, and they need to do more of it. because you got one out here who's really bringing boxing down. A lot of fans are excited about Cameron Dubois, Baumgartner, and Michaela Mayer. They want these women to continue to be successful. They want to see that success across the division and wanted to expand the overall audience for women's boxing with the proper conduct, proper attitude. You understand? Professionalism, sportsmanship. They want these women to go on, man, and be examples. You know, you got the Serrano's out of here. She one more fight. I don't think she's fighting after that, but she gonna be up out of here. Maybe one or two more fights. Taylor's out. One more fight remaining. She's out of here. Layla and the other pioneers been gone, ain't coming back. So it's up to these women with these larger names to really come out here, man, and show that they can be professional. They have good sportsmanship, and they can start to combat all the negativity, right, and the bad press that women's boxing gets and men boxing is getting because of Claressa Shields. And y'all could have your own opinion on that. I'm just being honest with you. Claressa Shields is under fire. I don't think she lasts too much longer in the sport. People are tired of her. They got what I call GOAT fatigue. They're just tired. It's exhausting. It's negative. It's not good. It's a shit sandwich. And I don't know about you, but I've never had a shit sandwich, but I would think that it doesn't taste very goddamn good. Now, Eddie Hearn and Jai Opetaia. Now, if the legal action proceeds, it would be a significant development. Now, Jai Opetaia has mentioned Eddie Hearn's name in the lawsuit filed to the IBF. Eddie Hearn's name is being tied to corruption. And you know, Fast Eddie, he didn't like that shit, so now he came out disputing the allegations, and he intends to defend his reputation in his company. He issued a letter. He had his lawyer send a letter to Opetaia, like, hey, remove my name or face legal consequences. But I'll say this, as with any legal dispute, the outcome will depend on the evidence and court process rather than public opinion. But for Jai Opetaia, if there's no proof about Eddie Hearn, being involved in corruption, don't get me wrong, we all on the outside have an opinion, but at the end of the day, if you can't prove it, leave the shit alone. What OJ's lawyer say? If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. So leave Eddie Hearn alone and just focus on the other area, like going at these asshole sanctioning bodies who you can tell they don't want to give Jai Opetaia any opportunity to pick up a belt. Now, you see these welterweights, this Conor Benn, this Ryan Garcia, and the Devin Haney, the Keyshawn Davis, and all this shit going on right now. It just makes me feel like, I look back fondly on the period when you had fighters like Hughes, Pacquiao, Crawford, Thurman, Porter, and Spence Jr. And it just made me feel like, them guys consistently delivered high-profile matchups. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't all this nonsense and back and forth and bullshit. Them guys was out there scrapping and didn't care. This next generation of guys have a lot of talent, but they got more mouth than anything else. And they definitely don't deliver high-profile matchups. It's like pulling teeth or breaking legs or cutting nuts off to get them to make a goddamn fight that's competitive. Everybody wants to pick that low-hanging fruit. We can't go back in time, and bring back these guys. And the couple who are fighting, they're not in their primes anymore. But these younger fighters need to take a look at these guys and remember the importance of delivering high-profile matchups, because fans will get tired of your ass and stop watching you. Now, talking about some of who people are getting tired of, and I think it's a bit unfair, but it's Canelo. Still remains one of the biggest boxing stars, one of the sport's most accomplished active fighters. But they just feel like he hasn't been meeting the expectations for years. And the Mexican fans, man, they're tired of blowing the horns. Viva Mexico Camarones. They're getting tired, man. They're like, his drawing powers changed. We're tired. You know what I'm saying? Can he still deliver the headline major events? Yeah, he's got a name. I mean, he has the ability to still do that, but just because it's a major event and a big headline in his name doesn't mean you're going to get the type of theatrics you need in the ring from him. He's not the same. He's just sitting here cashing checks, chasing that Wu-Tang cream, cha-ching, ching, dollar bill, y'all. I'll say, man, put some respect on Canelo's name. He's still a bad boy. But Crawford did put the goddamn Omaha, Nebraska bing bings on him, didn't he? Now, talking about somebody else who's going to get bing binged up, Conor Benn. I'm going to tell you, I just don't like him. All right, Dad said it. You know what I'm saying? I don't like him, man. You know, and I'm not the only one with a strong opinion on this guy. He just never shuts up. He just never shuts up. And that's why Ryan Garcia, I think he's gonna shut him up, man. You know what I'm saying? Speed, power. Simple, people. This is boxing arithmetic. Speed and power presents serious challenge. Conor Benn got the aggression. He's working so hard in camp. He looked like he's dying already, man. He look like he's dying already. He look exhausted. He's gonna be a dead man walking when he finally gets down to 147. So I don't think he's gonna be able to close the distance. People talk about, oh, he's explosive and he's powerful and he'll bite you. And I'm like, man, get out of here with that bullshit. So I predict Ryan Garcia knocks him out within 30 seconds. But until fight night prediction, just remain that just a prediction. But hey, I'm willing to bet you $24.99. I'll cash up it to you. And you can go to Luhan Food's Chinese buffet and eat all the fried rice and chicken wings you want if I'm wrong. Now, speaking of something that seems a bit off and wrong, Gervonta Davis. What's going on with this dude, man? Gervonta Davis, ever since he and Lamont Roach fought, he just hasn't been the same. Even Lamont has commented, said, yo, he was being a little bit disrespectful to me during our press conference. I chirped up, disrespected him back. But ever since we fought, he's been acting weird. I don't really understand what's going on. But when former opponents comment on changes in another fighter, it naturally draws attention. So, of course, I noticed it. But outside observers generally can't know the full context of another athlete's personal circumstances. But it does look like there's something going on with Tank. What it is, I don't know, but I do know professionally he has a lot going on and personally he has a lot going on. That could be why Lamont Roach said he's acting weird. For me on the outside looking in, it does seem like he has some challenges and going through some stuff. Now, talking about somebody who's going through the fire and came out the fire and got a violent knockout. Demetrius Andrade, man. He immediately put the super middleweight division on notice. Like, I may be old, but I ain't cold, and I still got what it takes to knock out and defeat all the elite at 168. But the thing is, man, can he translate that momentum with that first round knockout into a fight against the division's biggest name? They're going to avoid him. He's tall, strong, man. He's goddamn southpaw. He's got a quirky style, and they just don't want to fight him. But he got that big knockout, and he didn't just knock the dude out. The dude, you can see them damn the nervous system and shit and was firing. It was a violent knockout. It was obviously a mismatch. But it was sad to see that guy get knocked out like that. But it was good to see Demetrius Andrade come back and get a big knockout. And hopefully that'll put him in line for some big fights because he deserves it. He deserves it. Now, before I get out of here, Claressa Shields and the debate over professionalism. She remains one. We already know what Claressa Shields is to boxing. But I'm telling you right now, she's affecting male and female boxing. People aren't taking American boxing serious anymore. It's because when you think about boxing over here, you think about this woman. She's everywhere, and it's all bad, and it keeps us talking about her. But I mean, she's gone beyond polarizing. Like, she's a disaster, man. You got fans, content creators, fellow boxers. They've criticized aspects of her public conduct and believe it's overshadowed discussions of her in-ring achievements. And that's true. But there's some who, a concentric few, who strongly defend Shields, arguing that outspoken personalities have always existed in boxing and that criticism of her is often disproportionate. Others even say they're trying to hold a black woman down. Now, to that I say in the most respectful way, hey, yo, you McNicholas, hold your horses and stop taking it to the goddamn stupid. Now, Claressa would probably say, man, please, bullshit. They just don't like me because I'm fine. Because I'm thick in the thighs and nice in the eyes. No, you're taking it to the goddamn stupid. You know what I'm saying? It used to be competing viewpoints fueling ongoing debate. But there's no ongoing debate. Majority of people agree. Claressa Shields needs to go. You know, you got everybody criticizing this athlete. You know what I'm saying? Now they're starting to criticize the whole goddamn American boxing. That's ridiculous. So anyone like, well, there's no objective evidence that she's bringing down the sporthood. Hey, yo, you McNicholas, hold your horses and stop taking to the goddamn stupid. She's the one bringing down the whole damn sport. Women's boxing, men's boxing, American boxing. And you know why she's able to do it? You know why? Because she had certain expectations of her being a two-time Olympic gold medalist. She's highly visible, you understand? There are a lot of people who don't follow boxing but follow the Olympics, and they know who she is. So when you have somebody who has her status who's acting this way, it's an Olympian bringing down the entire sport of boxing. Y'all need to understand that. She's a part of American sporting history. So when the international community is looking at Claressa, most of them recognize her as being this Olympian who kicked ass and won 2 gold medals. So when she's out here acting the fool, they don't just see someone from Flint, Michigan. They see this American Olympian and not representing the sport in a positive light. She's expected to represent the sport in a positive light. She's not. That's why the reactions are super strong. Now, whether those expectations are fair or not, it's not part of the debate. But it's just one that boxing fans continue to have amongst themselves with little, water cooler discussions. But I'm going to just tell you this for me. I'm so over this Claressa Shields. Am I going to keep talking about it? Of course, I got to get my goddamn I got to make sure I'm making $24.99 a month to go to Luhan Food's Chinese restaurant to get my fried rice and chicken wings. But I understand what people are like, yo, we're tired of it. Just get out of here. I understand. It's all bad. And it's so bad that they're starting to look at men's boxing the same way. I have a friend, man, we were talking. This dude don't really know much about boxing. But yesterday we were talking about the issues with the boys going to Australia, Charlo, Errol Spence, Fulton, and I was like, damn, them dudes don't. I was joking, like, yeah, they should have been in the military. They'll know to keep up with their passport and their papers, All of us, you got to keep up. I had a government passport and the American passport. So when I'm traveling on government business, I used that passport. So I had 2. But when I watched them, I'm like, it's crazy. But even my partner, who doesn't really follow boxing that much, he was like, yeah, man, these cats out here, he's like, it's crazy. He's like, then you got all of them with these bad attitudes, cussing and carrying on doing rap songs. And I was like, what you mean all of them? He's like, don't you? I said, you talking about the Claressa shit? He's like, yeah. I said, well, you can't group it all together. He's like, it's all boxing. And he started laughing. But what I heard was alarming, because there are people who feel that Claressa is really bringing down the whole sport, and they just put boxing underneath one umbrella. And unfortunately, people who don't know much about like Errol Spence Jr. and these other fighters who are big names to us, they're just keeping up with the drama. And the only fighter name they really know is this damn Claressa Shields. So she's going to continue being under fire until she gets her shit together. And even so, nobody's really going to care. They just want her gone. Anyway, I'm not here to say those expectations are fair or not, but it is what it is. It's the reality that we're living in and she's living in. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.